Once again, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. As always, I am Zak the Corruption Detector, and this is another edition of Red Pill News. I hope you are having a lovely day and that you've had a marvelous evening last night as well. If you didn't get a chance to check my video out from yesterday, make sure you go ahead and do that either before or after this video. It'll probably be linked at the end of this video regardless. Now, we've got many different stories to get through, and first of all, we're going to be talking about Senator No Name. That's right, today is the 2-year passing of the senator from Arizona, and we're going to be taking a look at what is perhaps one of my favorite proofs. I think you guys are going to like it. Then next, we're going to be talking about the spate of missing and murdered soldiers at Fort Hood. What is going on at Fort Hood? This is a really strange situation, and you may be surprised to know that there are currently 12 soldiers missing, slain, or killed in accidents at Fort Hood since January. That's on top of the 13 that were lost in 2009. And after that, it looks like things have really gone to pot in Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's right, shots have been fired, and we have fatalities. Now, the situation surrounding this event is a little sketchy at best, but we're going to do what we can to try to unravel it. Then we're going to be looking at the incredible response on C-SPAN. The last 2 nights, when Democrats have called into the program, they have overwhelmingly been in support of President Trump. Last night, it was 16 of 18 callers. It does not bode well for the Democrats. And if we have time, we're going to be talking about Secretary Pompeo's speech at the RNC. House Democrats are launching an investigation, and it is straight up hypocrisy. All right, everyone, please do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a very brief word from our sponsor. Well, friends, there's a famous old saying that goes, "May you live in interesting times." And we certainly are. Our world is so sharply divided right now, even our basic American right to free speech is under a heavy attack. In fact, my channel here is being suppressed. I've been shadow banned, and it's because I'm not politically correct. If they want to take it all away, you might wake up one day and find that you can't see my content anymore. Perhaps nobody will, unless you know to look for me. It's a sneaky, underhanded form of censorship, and it's all because certain people don't like what I have to say. Now, since I depend on revenue from the product partners I promote, if no one can find or see my content anymore, then I'm out of business. Goodbye, Red Pill News. I certainly hope that never happens, but these days, anything can go wrong at any time. And that's why I teach self-reliance and emergency preparedness, especially when it comes to your food, water, and other vital necessities. As you know, I fully endorse the products from My Patriot Supply, and the advertising revenue I receive in return helps me pay my bills and enables me to keep bringing you great content like this. But any day now, that might stop. So please prepare in advance. I'd like to make a special request. If you've been planning to buy from My Patriot Supply, but you've been putting it off, now is the time to act while you still can. If you've already purchased what you need, I want to thank you sincerely. But as you can see, for the time being, the future isn't looking much better than what we've just been through. Frankly, it's probably going to get a lot worse leading up to the election. And that's why I urge you to take a moment right now and go to preparewithredpill78.com and make your purchase while you still can. My Patriot Supply is the only source I personally use and trust, and you can too. And right now, you can save $100 off a full 4-week supply of delicious, nutritious meals your whole family will love. My Patriot Supply makes it easy to be prepared at all times, and saving $100 off a life-saving 4-week supply of food is too good a chance to pass up. The future is so uncertain, I urge you to go to preparewithredpill78.com and get ready now. Once again, that's preparewithredpill78.com. Do it now, and remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. Alright guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite proofs ever. Today is the 2-year delta of the passing of No Name, the former senator from Arizona. Now, President Trump just the other day put his name back into the public conversation after Sarah Palin appeared on Tucker Carlson, and I believe she was talking about the one-time campaign that they were involved in. Now, President Trump said Sarah is correct. No Name was a lousy candidate candidate with lots of bad policy, but the deadheads sabotaged his campaign from the inside and never gave him a chance to win. Hope they were happy with Biden, who gave you me. So President Trump clearly indicating that the people working within No Name's campaign worked to sabotage it on purpose because Barack and Joe were the anointed couple. They were meant to be in that office of the presidency for 8 years. We all know it was a 16-year plan. Hillary Clinton did not, however, get her chance to get into the White House and destroy the country. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some posts in the months and days leading up to his actual passing. Well, first of all, post 1649, we have this one right here. It says, "No Name Action. Every dog has its day. Enjoy the show." Now, at the time, many people were just thinking, well, of course, No Name is a dog. Why wouldn't he be called a dog? Every dog does have its day. But then, nearly a month later, on July 25th, 2018, we get this post, No Name returning to headlines. And then, continuing on August 25th, we receive word that No Name has in fact passed. Now, most people in the press lauded him as an American hero, as a selfless patriot who gave everything for his country. Never you mind the treatment he received in the Hanoi Hilton. And here we go, lots of people in the mainstream very upset by his passing, probably due to the fact that he was one of President Trump's most vocal critics. But August 25th, the day of his passing, that is extremely important. And why is that important? Well, today is National Dog Day. August 25th, 2018, the day that John McCain was announced to have left this earth, was National Dog Day. That's right, almost 2 months after we were told he would be back in the news, and exactly 30 days after we were told that every dog would have his day, the former senator from Arizona was announced to have left. Now, we received another post after his passing, further confirming this proof. And here it is, we get that confirmation. Suicide weekend, hands up, 30, impossible, coincidence, we are in control, big week ahead. And this post, I actually don't know which number this is. I screen capped it and I forgot to get the top. But our favorite Anon says, coincidence, No Name exact 30. It was exactly 30 days from the day we were told that No Name would be returning to the news again, and nearly 2 months from the time that we were told that every dog has its day, clearly with a reference to No Name himself. Now, if this doesn't convince you that patriots are in control and that proofs are given on a regular basis on this board, I don't know what to tell you. What do you think are the chances that our favorite Anon, some random person in their basement, sitting on the couch, eating pizza and drinking Mountain Dew, or perhaps some Monsters, would get something like this so specific and so accurately? 30 days out and exactly on the day? I think the chances are astronomical. To me, this is one of the most important proofs we've ever received, and it is one of the reasons why I continue to trust the plan. Something is going on at Fort Hood. Currently, since January, we've had 12 soldiers either go missing, get murdered, or killed in accidents since the beginning of the year. Now, Fort Hood appears to be on the cusp of yet another tragedy, as authorities are searching for the latest Army soldier to go missing from the base. Now, you may remember Fort Hood because this is a Texas military installation, the place where Army psychiatrist Major Nidal Hasan took 13 people from this world and injured 32 others in a 2009 mass casualty incident. And that's not the only time something bad happened there. Fort Hood has seen its share of bloodshed. In 2014, 5 years after Hassan's rampage, Iraq War veteran and Army veteran SPC Ivan Lopez also opened fire at the base, killing 3 soldiers and injuring another 16 before taking his own life. Now, Hassan was convicted in 2013 of 13 counts of murder and 32 counts of attempted murder, and he was sentenced to death. Now, more recently, there have been a spate of missing and slain soldiers, and it's been plaguing the base because nobody seems to be able to do anything about it. There have been multiple investigations, and apparently they're also taking a hard look at the command climate and culture because there have been many allegations of sexual harassment and abuse. Now, since the beginning of the year, Fort Hood has seen 12 soldiers who have either vanished, died, or in one case turned up dead after going missing last year. Now, 2 more had separated from the Army at the base within the previous 6 months, and they were also killed, according to Stars and Stripes. In 1 or 2 of these cases, cases, the person charged with murder was also an active duty soldier based at Fort Hood. Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy said the numbers are high here. They are the highest in most cases for sexual assault, harassment, murder, and for our entire formation in the U.S. Army. Now, I'm not going to go through the list of all of these soldiers, but I am going to be leaving the link to this article in the description below. I think that this subject deserves an entire show done on the weekend, like on a 2-hour block on the live stream. So I'm going to see what I can do to get someone on the show that is an expert in what's going on there at Fort Hood. But this article does detail the people who are missing or who have been killed, and I suggest that everyone go ahead and take a look at it, especially if you're down there in Texas and it's possible you might have some information related to the whereabouts of these missing soldiers, or perhaps might know something about their killers. All right, next, the tragedy of Kenosha, Wisconsin. It was only a matter of time. Now, the question is, what are we going to do about it as a country? Are we going to finally take action? Are the leaders of these cities and states finally going to do what's necessary to keep the people of their cities and towns safe? Or are they going to use it as a political launch pad so that they can drum up anger and further fuel the flames of hatred in this country? Now, from the reports, one person was hit in the head, the other in the upper arm, and it is a very graphic scene. The videos are all over the internet. I am not going to be showing them here in this video. If you want to watch that stuff, you can go ahead and easily find it anywhere on Twitter. Now, riots and protests erupted Tuesday evening for the third night in a row in Kenosha following an officer-involved incident on Sunday. Now, the information on that was that the gentleman had a warrant out for his arrest. The police were called due to a domestic violence incident. When the police showed up, they knew about the person's warrant. They attempted to arrest him. There is footage of him wrestling with them and then going to his car and reaching under the driver's seat, at which point he was struck in the back. Now, the other day in the chat, someone said only cowards shoot you in the back, but this was somebody who was already tussling with police, and he went into his car and reached under the seat to grab something, almost as if he was reaching for a weapon. So, unfortunately, I think that that incident is justified. But as a result, people in Kenosha continued to riot. They continued to press forward. It all started when they began to destroy this car shop, which is where the shots were fired, and one person was shot in the head while looting the car shop. The person who was shot was losing a lot of blood and was sent to the ER. This is actually a picture of him on the ground with people trying to save him, and ironically, the looters and protesters were screaming for the police to come and save his life. Now, at the time of this article being written, it says it's unclear who actually shot this person in the head, but there is reports of a 17-year-old man from Illinois walking around with an AR, and the initial reports stated that he was the one. Now, since that time, the 17-year-old man has been identified, and he has been charged with murder. There is actual video showing the first shooting where he shoots the man in the head, and then you can see him on his cell phone, and it sounds like he says, "I just shot a guy up." And then he runs away, and that is the point at which the protesters begin to chase him down. They beat him in the street, hit him in the head with the skateboard. He turns around. One man is shot in the chest. That was the man who hit him in the head with the skateboard. The other man with the handgun in his hand is hit in the bicep, and his arm is just mangled. Now, that 17-year-old man is suspect Kyle Rittenhouse. He is the Kenosha shooter. He was jumped on the street by rioters. He then shot 3 people, killing 2, and he has been charged with murder. This is the moment at which he was on the ground and being hit in the head with the skateboard. And here is a meme that someone made of his eyes glowing, which I'm not even going to say anything. Initially there was some murkiness about whether or not Kyle was the shooter that hit the guy in the head and the guy who hit the 2 people there in the street. But it appears the police have confirmed it at this point. Now, he is innocent until proven guilty, but they have charged him with the 2 murders. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse of Antioch was charged Wednesday with first-degree intentional homicide in a shooting late Tuesday during a clash between protesters of police brutality and right-wing militia group members. The militia members had gathered to protect a gas station from looters and vandals, and video shows police offer Rittenhouse water shortly before the shooting and thank him for being there. It's definitely Kyle. They definitely did thank him for helping them out. The sad thing is that this man is only 17 years old. I don't know that he fully realized the ramifications of his actions. But unfortunately, in a situation like this, cooler heads don't always prevail. We're going to have to see what happens with this story, and I just hope that from this point out, no one else loses their life. Now, perhaps in response to the unrest taking place across the country, and more specifically what happened last night in Kenosha, and the fact that the RNC is taking place this week, C-SPAN had their nightly call-in show after the second night of the Republican National Convention, and the results were overwhelmingly positive towards President Trump. They have a line for Democrats and a line for Republicans, and 16 of the 18 callers were enthusiastically pro-Trump, and that includes Democrats. Now, last night was yet another historic night for the RNC this year in 2020, and the production was powerful, beautiful, smart, and seamless. The speakers last night included pro-life speakers, criminal justice reform advocates, and the beautiful First Lady Melania Trump. Now, following day 2 of the RNC, many viewers were then asked to call into C-SPAN to share their thoughts, and according to our unofficial count, 16 of the 18 callers were going to vote Trump, and several of the callers were lifelong Democrats. Another viewer named Helen called in from Pennsylvania after the RNC on Tuesday. She did not vote for Trump in 2016, but she's going to this year.
In Johnstown, Pennsylvania, on our Democrats line. Hi, Helen, you're on C-SPAN. What did you think of Melania Trump's speech?
I thought it was wonderful. I come from a long line of Democrats, but I have to say I switched parties because I'm so impressed by what our president did. And tonight's, the whole RNC was wonderful. I think Democrats really have to take a look at what has happened to them, how they switched their focus, how they don't stand up for what the American people really stand for. And Melania and everyone who spoke tonight were just excellent. They spoke what the real true Americans are.
Helen, who did you vote for in 2016?
Well, I didn't vote for Trump, but I am now. Most definitely. The riots that's going on, what's happening in California and all these countries, all these states and cities, it's just, is that what we really want? I don't think so.
That's
it's amazing how the Democratic Party has changed, and the Republican Party and Donald Trump is the one who's going to take this country and make it better, like he said, and I'm just so impressed.
Now, another C-SPAN viewer called in to say that he's been a lifelong Democrat but is switching parties to vote for Trump, and another lifelong Ohio Democrat named Rick also called in for Trump. He appreciated the GOP's mention of God in their event. I think that these calls, however anecdotal they might be, are truly representative of the sentiment in our country today. The unrest happening in cities all across the country are happening in Democrat-controlled areas. The country as a whole, run by President Trump, is doing far better than it ever has in the history of my lifetime. And if we get another 4 years with President Trump and the swamp can be fully drained, we are going to do better than at any other point in the history of our nation, perhaps the history of the world. President Trump is setting our country free, and President Trump is saving the world. Now, I want to play you one more clip from C-SPAN from last night. Now, this caller's name was Barb, and she lives in Minnesota. She is a lifelong Democrat. She still considers herself to be a Democrat. She watched the DNC convention, and now she's watching the RNC convention. I think this is probably unusual for liberals or people on the left. However, it's pretty normal for people on the right to get their information from both sides of the aisle. We want to know what's going on over there. Now, Barb says that the rioting is only 7 miles from her home, and it's scaring her. The platform presented by the DNC says nothing about the true nature of what's happening here in this country. And I want you to hear the pain and fear in her voice as she talks about the issues that are important to the American voter.
Democrats line. Hi, Barb.
Hi. Yes, I'm a Democrat, and our convention last week, is no comparison to what I've seen in just the last 2 nights.
What do you mean?
I'm from Minnesota, where all these riots and looting and the burning started, and I mean, not a mention about us last week, about saving our communities, helping our homeless, rebuilding our businesses. And this convention, just in the last 2 nights, has awakened me that there is hope, that there are people that are willing to fight for us people in our communities.
Barb, are you in the Twin Cities area or outside?
In the Twin Cities.
And
right outside the Twin Cities.
Has some of the protests, have they frightened you?
Oh, absolutely. They've been, 7 miles away with a new John Johnson of our party going into a neighborhood with 200 of Black Lives Matter supporters and terrorizing innocent neighbors in a community. It is scary.
Did you hear what she said? She said that watching the RNC convention had given her an awakening. She's realized, because of the platform of the Republican Party, because of the plan of President Trump, and because of the things that will happen in his second term, there is hope for the future. Hope that we can fix these problems, hope that we can end this unrest, hope that we can have a safe and secure future under the Republican Party and President Donald Trump, not under President Joe Biden, not under the Democrat Party. What you're seeing right now is representative of what you can expect if Joe and Kamala get put into the White House in November. And Democrats sitting back and watching it, aghast at the platform that Democrats are presenting and the words that are coming out of their mouths, in stark contrast to the Republicans, a message of hope, not a message of fear. Barb and so many others across this country are in the midst of a great awakening. And unfortunately, it required this time in history to make it obvious to the people who had not yet awakened. If you want more of the same that you're seeing in these Democrat-run cities, vote for Joe and Kamala. If you want a bright future for America and safety and security for your families, law and order, make sure you vote for President Donald Trump. Now, while I was recording, we got a new drop, so I think this is the perfect time to put it in because it talks about the differences between the Democrats and the Republicans. Now, somebody very recently had noticed when the DNC put their logo out for 2020, it included a pentagram if you just turned it to the side, and that is a fairly interesting thing to put in there. Somebody said, watching the DNC last night, I noticed their logo. Now, where have I seen that uneven star before? Hiding in plain sight. And then we have a Twitter status from President Donald Trump. Let's take a look at that. He said 2 Democrat caucus meetings removed under God from the Pledge of Allegiance. It sounded not only strange, but terrible. That's where they're coming from. And now back to the post. One party discusses God. One party discusses darkness. One party promotes God. One party eliminates God. Symbolism will be their downfall, the great deceivers. When was the last time you witnessed a Democrat Party leader being patriotic, exhibiting national pride, love of country? When was the last time you witnessed a Democrat Party leader speak out against the riots, violence in the streets? When was the last time you witnessed a Democrat Party leader support those who took an oath to protect and defend? When was the last time you witnessed a Democrat Party leader support and call for unity across our nation? All assets deployed, information warfare, infiltration, destruction of America. Have faith in humanity, have faith in yourself. United we stand, God wins. This is a pretty straightforward example of the differences between the Democrats and the Republicans. We want to promote God. They want to eliminate God. We want to bring unity to this country. They want to divide it so they can more easily control you. They have absolutely zero national pride, no patriotism, no respect for our flag or our Constitution, and all of those things we have in spades. We love our country. We are all patriots. We respect our flag. We respect our country, our Constitution, our national sovereignty. These people are the antithesis of everything we believe. Now, I truly believe that the Democrat Party is in its last gasps. It shall be here on this earth only for a very short period of time. With all of the calls seen on C-SPAN, with all of the people across the country who are now openly coming out to support our president after his calls for unity, after his calls to stop the rioting, to stop the violence, to start respecting our national identity, we have so many more people who will be supporting President Trump in November 2020. And this horror show that the Dems have attempted to put us under these last several years, to remove God from our lives, to remove God from the fabric of our national conversation, it's not going to work. We are winning, my friends, even if it's one heart and one mind at a time. All right, guys, and finally, a House Democrat has launched an investigation into Secretary Pompeo's speech at the RNC. Now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi blasted Pompeo for his speech at the Republican National Convention from Jerusalem. She called it appalling. She said now he's doing just that thing, and then, of course, really sadly, discoloring our bipartisanship in terms of our support for Israel, which has always been bipartisan, and we always want it to be. The image is something that's going to say, look at us. We're here in Israel making a speech to the Republican National Convention, violating our values in terms of the bipartisanship and our support for Israel, violating in many ways what he told his own employees. Now, after that diatribe from Pelosi, Representative Joaquin Castro of Texas, who's also chairman of the House Foreign Affairs panel, sent a letter to Deputy Secretary of State Stefan Biegun and asked for documents on Pompeo's planned remarks. Now, Pompeo is coming under scrutiny for taking time during his official diplomatic travel in the Middle East to record remarks to be played at the GOP convention on Tuesday night. The secretary is believed to have recorded his remarks from Jerusalem, drawing criticism that the nation's top diplomat was using the holy city as a prop for a partisan and political gain, or maybe he just didn't have an opportunity to record it at any other time. Now, the infamous Hatch Act prohibits federal officials from participating in political activity while on official duty. The State Department has said that Pompeo is addressing the convention in his personal capacity, and no department resources were used for preparing or delivering the remarks. But Castro said the secretary's actions directly violate his instructions that State Department officials, specifically presidential and political appointees, are barred from engaging in political partisan activities abroad that are related to the U.S. elections. Now, it's absolutely unacceptable that a sitting U.S. Secretary of State, America's top diplomat, would use official taxpayer-funded business to participate in a political party convention, particularly after the State Department published guidance that explicitly prohibits such activity, Castro wrote in his letter. Now, once again, in a stunning moment of hypocrisy, Castro seems to have completely forgotten that President Obama had no less than 5 people working in his administration who came to give speeches at the Democratic National Convention previously under his administration. It's not like Secretary Pompeo was handing out flyers for President Trump while in the middle of a peace negotiation. He just happened to be on a business trip when he had the time to go ahead and record the speech. The Hatch Act has never been used. I don't see it being used in this instance, but I wouldn't put it past the Democrats for trying to use it the very first time in this instance. All right, guys, that is all that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am Zak the Corruption Detector, and this was another edition of Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, one more thing. I just want to thank everyone for watching today. If you have not subscribed yet, I urge you to please consider subscribing. There will be a couple of videos that pop up if you want to continue to watch. There's also some ways in the description of this video that you can follow me on other platforms. Please consider doing that as well. And if you want to support the program directly, there are means to do that below as well. Thank you all for your support over the last couple of years. Consider liking and sharing this video and help me get the real news to people who don't yet know they've been lied to.